right, good evening. This is the June 27th meeting for the School Buildings Committee. And I'd like to open it up with a Pledge of Allegiance. All rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. This is being recorded and televised. I ask if anybody else is recording. Okay, see none. Citizens' comments? None. Approval of meeting minutes. So I guess for the last meeting was the October 25th, so that was in the packets. Take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve as written.
Second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Those are approved. All right, general update. Had some. No, you can go. Yeah, is it some of the HVAC issues that have still been hanging on, and that we had a year ago in the wintertime, and this past winter they came back. So I'll let Ben and Jamie take over and know where we are.
I'll give a general update and just on what has transpired, and hopefully Jamie can get into some of the more specific things related to the HVAC issues. But back in January, we haven't met in so long, there was another hot water coil that froze up on RTU 3. Similar to the other instances, the team, Fontaine, made the immediate temporary repairs and worked with the school just to minimize impact to the faculty and the occupants of the school. And at that point, we got Addison, the manufacturer, as well as Seaman Engineering, who's the mechanical engineer, involved, and they discussed for months on end. They looked at all the trend data, everything available to them, and ultimately they were able to finally approve new sequences of operations. So they basically rewrote the whole engineering to the rooftop units. And it did take a while, a lot of back and forth, but I think that everybody just wanted to make sure everything was, all T's were crossed and I's were dotted for this time around. So the sequences are now uploaded. They were uploaded earlier this month, Jamie. Yep. And so the next domino to fall is to have KMDS to have their control sub CTI. They need to do a check, a point-to-point check, just to verify that everything is working as designed. They need to produce a report on that, and they also need their balancer tech-in to come out and balance and test the units. And so once that is done, and once the balancing report as well as a point-to-point check are in place, we can get that information to WSP, the commissioning agent, which is kind of the last step for that. They will come out, and we're going to have all parties who are involved. We'll have Fontaine, we'll have KMD, we'll have CTI, who is the control sub, as well as Nelson Scrivener, who is they're a representative of the manufacturer. We'll have them all on site at that time, just so when we do test, if anything does come up, we won't have to reschedule, to look at one little thing. We can have it figured out that day, hopefully. So that's kind of an overview of where we're at. Like I said, Jamie can probably get into a few more of the specifics as to what was looked at, as well as Eric probably can as well. So yeah, that's where we're at. It's ongoing, but I think within the next week, you anticipate the balancer?
Yeah, we're anticipating having the commissioning back here the week of the 10th.
Okay.
So the balancer's got about 2 days of work. Yeah, so on schedule, like Ben was saying, CTI should be done this week with the point-to-point, and then we're trying to get the balancer here next week, but it's just tough with the holiday week and limited days. But we have, we're basically looking to have WSP back here the week of the 10th, somewhere in those first couple days to re-engage on commissioning of the system. And then Ben kind of ran through that already. So for schedule-wise, that's where that all sits.
Okay. Any questions? from the members? Hopefully we're through the.
Yeah, I just wanted
Well,
to know, I mean, obviously the team, as well as you guys, is continuous frustration. A lot of this got repetitive, but I do think that we're at the point, and obviously nobody from the team has walked away from this, and it was like a 5-month period between the engineering firm and the manufacturer. So they better be right this time. But yeah, I think that overall we should be in good shape come next week. And that's
Mr. Chairman, through you, do the
Mr.
guarantees get
So-
extended?
so something we need to talk about with Fontaine. Luckily, the obviously we saw the coil failure in January that was covered because of the warranty letter that we had at the last
Yeah, extended
meeting.
from last time, yeah.
Yeah. So, Jamie, you want to come talk about that, or?
So on the system, part of the freeze protection, sort of belts and suspenders that the design team and KMD came up with, they also added glycol to the loop. So that obviously changes the freezing point for the water that's in it. As for an extended warranty, that's something that we, Fontaine, are going over with KMD, because it's sort of a very kind of individualized problem. It's not like a warranty for the whole unit. You know, if a belt goes or a drive goes, that's already on its own warranty. But we're in discussions with them on something to give the town an assurance come January this year, if we have another issue that, you know, we're all still going to be here, which we are. But we haven't come up with what that's going to look like yet, but we're working on that as a team right now.
Do you think the manufacturer and the engineer could come up with something?
Anything that we draft, we will obviously run it through the design team. The manufacturer really, they will probably just take whatever we put together and we'll get them to buy into it, really. They're not going to produce a document on their own without us kind of telling them what we need it to look like. And more or less, it's really going to be coming through KMD, who's they bought the units through Addison, so it's really going to come out of them as the subcontractor.
To the best of your knowledge, do you know if the manufacturer has reviewed the engineering
Yes, yeah,
beforehand?
yeah. So the sort of
I'm not
delay,
talking
which,
about the corrective action currently,
yes,
day one. Do you have any knowledge that the manufacturer took a look at the engineered HVAC system and said, yeah, this is good?
from I don't think
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much the system. The issues we've been having are internal that are
Parts of it.
unit. Yeah, it's part of the controllers and the circuit boards that Addison has inside their rooftop units
yeah.
that have been the problem, and then the back nets talking to each other from the different systems and stuff have been having is where all the issues have been having.
Yeah, the actual mechanical function of the units isn't where the issue's been. It's literally been kind of the brains behind it, and the computer programming and the sequences of, you know, when this happens, do this type of logic statements. That's what essentially has just been redesigned or rewritten. The manufacturer and the engineer, that's what they were working on the last couple of months, going back and forth, trying to come up with every variable. And that,
I guess what I'm driving at, we thought it was going to work in day one, and now this has been done, and we think it's going to work again. And from day one, there's a certain amount of warranty and guarantee time in place. And let's say, just for talking purposes, it's 12 months. And now at the 11th month, we fix something, now it goes broke at the 13th, so well, it's a
yeah,
month beyond the guarantee.
the issues we've been having, the way we've addressed it as the project team, is they're not new, they're open warranty claims at this point. So again, going back to, you know, wear and tear, because the system's been running, you know,
Understood,
a belt
yeah.
goes, but if we have a problem with freeze protection, that's an ongoing issue that we've already had, so we don't see it as a new warranty item, we see it as an open item that's been
I
ongoing.
mean, pre-existing
Yeah.
condition type of
Yeah.
thought process.
And Joe, to your point, I mean, we haven't seen the system act properly for a full heating season. I think that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So the project team will obviously work with Fontaine to, you know, finalize that warranty. However, we may do it with Joe and Mary Ellen and all involved. So I think that will be forthcoming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay. Thanks. Ben, are you gonna present the change order? Ben? Are you gonna?
That's not one of the cities, you know.
So those who were listening to Mark before, this is the change order request for the dehumidification unit to be added to the gymnasium. This was designed after a request by the town due to uncomfortable conditions in the gym. It was stuffy in there. They wanted basically a dehumidification unit to enhance the air in there, especially for if you're playing sports, you don't want it to be super stuffy in there. So this is what we went to. We gave Fontaine the go ahead to get us pricing. They got us this back. We had Skanska did an in-house estimate based on the HVAC side, and it coincided with what we have here. So I don't think there was any exceptions from LPA. There definitely wasn't any from Skanska. So we are now bringing it in front of you guys to take a look at, to review, and hopefully vote on for approval so that we can get these materials ordered. And
How much does the unit weigh, roughly?
Eric, do you have an answer for that?
I mean, I'm looking at a trucking and crane, $9,800, 10 grand. I don't think we're buying the crane, but it seems like a high number. Place something on the roof.
Are you gonna take the old one down and put the new one up? But I mean, it's.
That's my point. For one, we wouldn't be looking at that. I'm not so sure there's a sharp pencil here. I don't think I'm getting cheap in my old age.
There's a mob and demob charge on the cranes and everything, so
Oh, I
it's,
know that. I know that.
you're paying portal.
But 10 grand.
It's probably one day till the time. I think.
Has Skanska reviewed this?
So we had Skanska take a look at the HVAC scope within this, and they did an estimate, and that part was good. And we also had a few other eyes, Dale Caldwell and myself, take a look at it, and we were fine with it. So we did, along with the owner and LPA, we did approve this on our side. Obviously, it's here for that reason, for you guys to review.
Would be okay, Mr. Chairman, if I ask Joe Fahey to weigh in on it?
Absolutely.
Did you weigh in on it?
Weigh a lot. Yeah. Yes, we're in favor of it. I mean, we're through it with the team.
No, I don't necessarily mean in favor of what's gonna be done. That, I think everybody's in favor.
As far as like the
Financial.
trucking and,
Everything.
yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think that the council could be shopping, but this comes through the project. I think our other alternative was to put it out to bid, which is something I don't think we want to do.
No,
Um,
You're comfortable, I mean, you've been talking
I'll
with
be
them
happy
right
when it's
along.
all done and complete. And if this is what it's going to take to get us to the state-of-the-art building that we all hope to be, then I'm in favor of it. There are a lot of unanswered questions. Yeah, I agree with the trucking charge. I agree with what are we going to do with the unit. I mean, it's no use to us now. But if this is, the cost of doing business, if this is what it's going to get to give us, a beautiful building and the comfort that we need, and it works,
Used equipment doesn't bring you anything.
no.
No, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You can put it out there, and you'd be surprised what you're not going to get back.
What you paid for it.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised you're going to
10
get.
cents on a dollar.
But
But
better
Through the
than
chair,
scrapping.
Mike, that kind of was my question. The unit that's coming down, is that, I mean, it's only a couple of years old. Is that parts for other units that are, does it match a lot of other things that are on this building already? That unit could be put somewhere and saved for parts for something?
Unfortunately, no.
I'd rather
Not for
not.
the size of it, no.
The different sizes of
Yeah,
everything?
It's specific.
And that's heat only.
Yeah,
Our other
correct.
ones are a combination.
Now, will that unit stay here, Joe? Well,
No,
Will the
they're gonna-
HVAC
they're-
contractor take it?
I gotta think that's why the trucking charge is probably as
That's,
high as it is,
yeah,
because
that's
they also have to
included in
take
the
it off and bring it
proposal
somewhere.
is the,
Where they bring it, I don't know, but.
So there may be a credit coming to us.
Sounds like it's gonna be a wash job.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Ain't getting a unit for free.
Maybe you can.
Joel?
How
I
soon
know
would
what
it
you're
be up
saying
and
though,
running?
Joe. I agree with you.
so that's the next part. Obviously, with approval tonight, we'd release Fontaine to get their subs to order materials. We do have to target when it can be put up there, whether it's, I don't know if it's too optimistic to thinking this fall or next spring. And I think once Jamie, do you think like a 2-week install? I'm not sure for this kind. I know we talked briefly about it. And obviously it'll be the same, we'll need to test it and stuff like that afterwards,
Yeah.
so it is.
The install itself is quick, it's just getting the unit. So everything related to sort of off-the-shelf stuff, I can't speak to what the manufacturer runs lead times right now. But my guess is, you're probably talking at least 3 months. The other thing that might hurt us is we're just buying 1 unit and not, 10 units or so the priority level. Once we get KMD released, I can start getting timeframes for it, but yeah, we think optimistically we might be able to hit the late fall, but most likely it would be springtime for actual install.
Would it be needed in the wintertime
Yeah, fall, next year.
as much as in the warmer weather?
It's really the issue. So the system's designed to basically just exchange air. So when they're using the gym in the hotter summer months, since the school is kind of used all year, you're taking out 90-degree air and putting in 90-degree air. In the wintertime, it just acts as a heating unit. So what's up there now will suffice for that. So it's really the downside is we won't have it in place for this summer, but we should have it in place for next summer, which is really when the school sees the advantage of having the actual unit cooling capability.
Is there any possibility of having it in place for this coming winter, so we can make sure that the heating issues, that it runs correctly with the
That's
rest
what
of the
we're
units?
for.
Yes.
Yeah, but I can't get a date for when it's gonna get here until I order it. They can give me estimates and all that stuff, but I don't believe them until I have a piece of paper from saying the unit you just ordered is gonna be there next day. So we would push for that, because obviously we want to get it and try to get it.
Yes.
So if we vote on this tonight, you'll be able to order it tomorrow, if that's the way the vote goes.
Yeah, we'll get it released. We'll release KMD to start the process. We'll have to get submittals on it. So we'll get it ordered, but then the submittal process will take a couple weeks. It'll get reviewed by the design team, and then so we probably have it ordered within a month to 6 weeks, and then the actual lead time would start.
So in theory, this could be completed by the end of this year,
Should be.
because this is the final piece
Yep.
of completing the project.
Yeah, this will be the final
Right.
kind of piece of the puzzle. Is this
So
switch.
the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And-
definitely.
Just to let you, we probably would have been back a little bit earlier on the with the change order. Took a little, between having the trouble over the winter time with the stuff, and then getting them to get the change order together. But we, when the initial came in and we started talking about it, there was the same units that were up there, the Addisons, and with all the issues we're having, like, why are we buying the same thing and to only maybe see the same problem? So they've gone back to the base of design unit, the Aeon unit, which was originally spec. So we're changing horses, but hopefully we're in the right direction and we don't have our programming issues that we've had with all the other units.
I have one more question.
Yep.
Would it be cheaper to just add air instead of take this unit down, which we have heat already, to just add an air conditioner up there for the gymnasium?
I think Kevin looked into that. I don't think it was feasible
Well,
the way it's set up.
Yeah, part of it is you're running all new ductwork and everything else. This is the units coming off. They put a little, because the unit's a little different size. The Aeon unit, there's another collar that goes on top of the curb, and then they drop the unit right back on top of the same spot and use all the same ductwork. we put another unit up there, I think they'd have trouble.
Too small of an area to put a coil system in.
Yeah, they looked at
Unfortunately, yeah, it was too close, it was too small.
Okay. So, we have a
It's coming from.
change order request in front of us.
It's also,
For the the changing out the gym unit for a dehumidification unit up there. So I entertain a motion on this for accepting the change order request 163 for 217,178 and 21 cents. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right. And a second.
Second.
Okay. There you go, motion second. Now, open it up to the floor for discussion on it. Weighing in whether you're good, bad, indifferent, whether you want to go for it, not.
Mr. Chairman, may I just make
Sure.
one comment?
Absolutely.
I picked up this stuff and went all through it, and before I got halfway through, I said, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Joe Fahey has gone through this, and if he says this works, you've got my vote, and we move forward with it. That man knows what he's doing and answer any of your questions, and I'm sure if there was questions in this,
so if it doesn't work, we blame him.
well, that goes along with it, but I'm just making my comment. My vote wouldn't be on this, my vote would be that Joe said this will work. Thank you.
Thank you.
So is the money for this coming from unused funds that we've already allocated for the building?
Correct, yeah. They had the original MSBA appropriation that we had. I mean, I haven't looked at the total numbers in a while, but we have several million underneath that total appropriation that was, set aside and stuff. So this is all within that.
Yeah, it'll come from contingency, but it will be a change order to Fontaine's contract to keep it all. I mean, the thought there was to keep it under this project so that we already have the subcontractors on board. You don't have to go out to bid. So that will move money from the contingency into their contract to do that work. And then once they finish that work, they're complete, then we start to close out their contract and the financials for the MSBA side to close out that side of the project.
Actually, just based on taking out of contingency, we had more credit coming back on contingency than this value, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
actually,
so out of their base
If
contract.
you look at Fontaine's last rec, it's 23 here, they had 626,000 in CM contingency, and that's separate from the owner's contingency. So, at the end of the day, if they hadn't spent that, it would come back into owner's contingency, so that is still left out there as well. So I think that's why the owner felt so comfortable, just, might as well get a new building and make it off the line. So, there's money there, and that's the processions of things, so.
Great, it's good we get the money.
Yep.
I also like to point out that contractor was not charging for overhead and proper quarter bond.
Correct. And I would say, I mean, it's coming from, we've chosen to take it from contingency, we're happy to do that. I think it's added scope from a contract, but from our perspective, I think that's enough give and take, and patience, certainly, all the HVAC stuff, but that was something that we are certainly willing to do for, added all HVAC cost.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Have you received all your retainage to date?
No, there's still.
I think there's a point on us and a couple on KMD.
Yes. So there's sense in holding it.
Well, we got all the HVAC issues.
There's still,
That's
Other than that
Yeah.
piece, other than that piece.
Right.
still is 87,000 in retainage, most of 72,000 of which is in
Yeah,
HVAC.
you're not billing for any of that at this point?
Well, I think we were kind of hoping for the sequences to be fully checked out before we release that final amount. And Eric can weigh in on it as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of steps left. I think the system needs to be balanced.
commissioning
Yeah.
agent is going to come back in and recommission
Yeah, I
all
agree.
Wanna
the
go-
rooftops at once.
Go up to the mic.
You're just
So
speaking in the audience.
The steps that are left to do is that the system needs to be rebalanced, and then the commissioning agent has to come back, and they had previously commissioned the entire building and said everything's fine. That obviously was not the case. Had the freeze-ups and the issues with the controls, so that they will be coming back to recommission the entire rooftop equipment.
But I see they're not charging for commissioning.
Well, that's actually not part of Fontaine's scope. That's
understand.
paid for by
KMD.
No.
MSBA.
Yeah, it's the full commissioning, enhanced commissioning is paid for by the state. It's
Right.
outside of it, so
Yeah.
they have their own commissioning that they do the checking of all the points and.
And they've been copied on all of the back and forth correspondence relative to the sequences, and they've weighed in on that as well. So we're hoping that once that's done, the building's been commissioned, we can release the remaining retainage and get everybody paid.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, if I'm hearing this correctly, the $217,000 for the change order is within the contingency plan?
Yes, it's within the original construction contract for Fontaine. They had leftover CM contingencies in there
Mm-hmm.
that was going to be coming back as a credit to us.
Okay.
So that credit just gets shrunk down a little bit and is going to be used to pay for this.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, if there's no other discussions, take a vote. So for the motion to approve the COR 163 for $217,178.21 for the new dehumidification unit at the gym. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's approved. Any other questions, discussions you want to bring up? Anything else? I don't know. I guess right now for the next meeting we'll leave it open ended at the moment, but it's probably wouldn't be before August anyway, and we'll keep everybody informed from at that point, like we have on this one with calling around and making sure we have quorum and stuff. So thanks everybody for coming, and I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Gone. Thank you.